What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Big Guilty Cigar Podcast. I am here with the handsome, lovely, super stylish with the baby Yoda on, Nate.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
So, if you guys don't know, Nate is from Renegade Media Group, which is a reaction-based channel. And
Yeah.
backstory behind this, I met Nate through Rick. We did a podcast together on Sticks and Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I was like, I gotta talk to Nate again, even like because we had such a good time the first time, and I really think you guys are really gonna enjoy his story, and also just what he's been up to, and he's also knowledgeable in the world of YouTube. So,
Mm-hmm.
without further ado, Nate, if you want to tell us about Renegade Media, go for it.
Well, hey everybody. My name is Nate, as put it earlier. I have been doing YouTube now for almost 9 years, consistently. I got a late start on it whenever I was like getting started. I was 25 when I first decided I wanted to do YouTube. I decided to really give it a shot because I'd done other stuff before where I'd played around, posted a video here and there, but nothing serious. Because keep in mind, back when I started doing YouTube, it was still during the viral phase of YouTube where there weren't career YouTubers. Instead, you posted a video, and if it went viral, hey, maybe you get contacted to do interviews and stuff like that. But as it progressed on and we got into the career era where you had career YouTubers, which, were started by channels like Smosh, Ray William Johnson, Ryan Higa, and just people like that. It changed the game. And I was like, okay, what if I did a more consistent thing? And
Mm.
I tried to do gaming. And here's the thing, when I was trying to do my gaming stuff, I was trying to act like all the other big YouTubers that were out there. I was trying to act like PewDiePie. I was trying to act like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Scene Anners. I was trying to be all these people instead of being myself. And that's a problem because when you're trying to be someone else, people are going to see through it really quickly and they aren't going to tune in for that. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to be real with people. I'm just going to, get on camera and talk. And then I started doing that, but then people were like, "Hey, have you thought about trying to do a reaction videos?" I was like, never thought about that." And they requested, I remember the first one they requested was DJ Snake and Lil Jon's Turned Down for What.
Oh,
And I just remember the first video, it was posted I think 3 days after my 25th birthday. It was me, my mom, and my friend Micah, who's been on the channel a long time, who's a part timer now because he's got a lot going on in his life and he's not able to come over and record as much. But all three of us were in the basement of this house, and we sat there. We reacted to it. The reaction was awesome. It was hilarious because that music video is just
yeah.
it's something else. It's
Mhm.
it's a pretty crazy music video. But we did that, and I posted it, not thinking anything about it, and it was like, oh wow, it's already got 100 views, and it's only been like a few hours. Wow. And then 100 views turned into 500, then 1,000,
Oh wow.
5,000, then 10,000. And before I knew it, it was the highest watched video. It had more views than all of my other videos on my channel combined.
Wow.
I remember when I got to that point, I was like, this is different.
Mm.
I wonder what this is all about. And then all of a sudden, we started getting more requests. So we reacted to more requests. And pretty soon it was just off to the races. I invited the rest of my friends over, some mainstays. We had Micah, Caleb. In the beginning, there was also my friend Bo, who I worked with at the movie theater,
Mm.
and then our friend Sean. Mine and Caleb and Micah, we knew Sean for a very long time, and I remember the first series of videos we did was all of us just reacting and just having fun, and the numbers just kept going up, and I was like, okay, wow. So I guess if we keep doing this, we'll see where it goes. And I remember it was about, gosh, it was about a almost because I remember we did it for a few months, and then Sean had to stop because his job picked up, and he was having to stay and do his thing, and work a regular job, pay the bills and all that. I think everyone out there knows how that is.
Yep.
But then it was I think it was July next year. I think July 24 or 2015.
Hmm.
Yeah, July 2015. We received a shock when we found out that Sean actually had passed away.
Oh my god. Oh, that was your female friend.
No, that was Chelsea.
Okay.
That one was recent.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
one was this one was right in the beginning of the
Oh
channel.
my
This was
god.
before we got monetized.
Yeah.
Sean was 34, same age I am now. Go figure. And he was. I just remember I didn't believe it at first, but then all of a sudden, my all of a sudden I got a call from Micah. I got a call from Caleb saying, "Is it true? Is it true? What do you know?" And none of us knew anything. And then I got a call from Sean's brother BD, and BD basically just delivered the news, and I was just completely just
That is.
flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. And that one hit pretty hard, and I realized that just like damn, like 34, man.
Yeah.
30 like 34. I couldn't believe that. And then a couple months after that, my grandfather, who you talk about a tough guy. I can go into a story about him, but he was 71, and then he passed away, and I just remember thinking to myself, I don't want to work a job all the time where I'm stressed out.
Yep.
I'm gonna try this YouTube thing, see if it goes anywhere. Fingers crossed. Let's shoot for this. Let's try this for 6 months, dedicated 100% to it, see where we get. And then I think it was about 2 3 months later of me going 100% full time on it, that we were monetized, and I actually made enough money to where I moved out. I
Mm.
moved out of this house and I moved into an apartment, and it just kept growing from there. And now it's gotten to the point here, years and years later, where I've been able to buy the house that I started in off of my mom. So it's sort of come full circle. So I'm
360. That's pretty amazing. So I wanted to get into just the from going from like hitting that first, like when you first hit 10,000 subscribers, like from
yeah.
there, from going from 10 to seeing you getting momentum to 50,
Hmm.
in from getting 50 to 100,000. Like
Oh man.
what was it like when you finally hit over 100,000?
Honestly, man, for me, when I started doing this, I never expected to hit 100 subscribers, because when you get into this and you've never done it before, and especially when you're in my case, I was in YouTube terms an old man
Yeah.
by today's standards, at least, because most YouTubers that you see nowadays on the come up are like 16, 17, 18. They're young kids. And when I got into it, I didn't expect it at all. And when we hit 10,000, I was just like, oh, wow. I never like, I was just like, so I guess like I guess this is my career now, I guess. But if we never get past this, I'll still be happy to know that 10,000 people were
Enjoy. Yeah.
were enjoying our content enough to where we could, they would subscribe to us. And now here we sit at over 280,000, and it still hits me just differently every time I just sit, because when you're in the midst of doing just going through all the motions, editing, posting, doing thumbnails, working on stuff. But then when you sit back and you really think about it, you think about like how big of a number that is. You
Yeah.
see, if you were to meet, you and me, we're talking right now. This is a
Exactly.
one-on-one convo.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden I go somewhere and 10,000 of my subscribers are just there waiting for me,
That's a crazy.
that's a crazy amount of people.
Yeah.
Like that's enough to fill up a tiny arena.
Exactly.
And I'm like, That is an amazing amount of people. And I look at the numbers now, 280,000. Dude, I could fill up Bristol Motor Speedway, which is like the biggest rate, like the biggest like arena in our area, which can seat about 170 to 180,000 people, and there would still be 100,000 people outside.
Well,
I still am just blown away by the amount of people who, for some reason, have gravitated towards us and have stuck with us this long. It still puts me just over the edge in terms of just like in just like disbelief because it's like what how else like how far like how much further can this train go? I mean, I'm still waiting for the bottom to fall out and just like all the momentum just dies and we're just back at square one again.
well, I think the amazing thing is I think you guys all have great personalities and you guys all bring different things to the table,
Yeah.
and that's really big because nobody wants to be in the echo chamber.
Yeah, and that's what I try to prevent that. I try to prevent getting people who are too like-minded,
Yeah.
just like all parroting the same stuff over and over again. Instead, I want to challenge ideals and I want to challenge like people's it's not the fact that I want to like prove them wrong or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I want to find out logically how they reached the conclusion and see like be like, okay, so since you thought this, now that it's come out that this is true now, uh does that change your perspective on things or is that I like just conversing with people and it's not the fact that I want to prove them wrong or catch it or have a aha gotcha moment.
Well,
it's it's the fact that I just want to be real with them. And
I think debate is healthy. Debate is healthy, and also too, it gives you a whole
yes.
because when you hear another person's opinion, it can kind of change. Like, I never thought about it like that.
Hmm.
That okay, point taken.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Because because I feel like maybe for the last maybe 3 years, it's been an echo chamber of it's like it's a certain community that's been pushing a hard agenda.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we have a lot more supporters than you think, and then when it's time for them to get support, they don't get it. And then it's like, okay, but you keep campaigning for them, but what happens every time you campaign for them, getting pushback. And I think that's one thing that Budweiser found out the hard way. Yeah,
Oh God.
well, if you think about it like this, like every speaking of, which is gonna be next month, like when you think about that, it's like, every company is gonna do something for them, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like so but it's like how many of those products do you actually move, and how much of it actually goes back to the store, because you
Good
know
question.
it's a big thing of where it's only like 0.3% of a community that identifies with that. So it's like it's not, to me, at least for me, it's not a big enough profit margin.
Well, and I get that, and my whole deal with like Budweiser's a private company. They can do
Yeah.
whatever they want. They can market to whomever they want. And honestly, if they would have just run ads
Mhm.
in hot epicenters where that's a big thing, like
Yeah.
San Francisco,
New York,
Spokane, Washington, New York, if
Atlanta.
they would, yeah, if they would have, yeah, exactly, if they would have ran it in areas, because this is how ideals spread. They start in epicenters and you build them up and they spread and that's how it's supposed to be. But the problem is it's just like it's like okay, for instance, it's like going into New England and being like, hey, we have Bud Light's new spokesperson, Peyton Manning,
Hmm.
or no, Eli Manning, because two
Oh
Super
yeah,
Bowls.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
because Eli just
Is the most he's the most hated man in Boston.
yes, by far. Uh
With two lucky catches, two on top of it.
well, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Hey, you ain't gonna convince me that the David Tyree catch is not probably the greatest catch in Super Bowl history.
No, it is the greatest catch in Super Bowl history. But here's the problem with that one was Rodney Harrison should have just hit him instead of going for the ball. Should have hit him and kind of destroyed.
Well, Rodney Harrison is. infamous for shooting himself in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like he's pulling a was it Cromartie who shot himself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not like he's pulling a Cromartie, but
Oh no,
instead
it's
Harrison.
Plaxico Burress who shot himself in the
Oh,
foot.
Plax. Yeah, it was Plaxico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Plaxico Burris. Okay, but it's not like he's pulling a Plaxico Burris and he's just shooting himself deliberately.
Yep.
No, instead, Rodney Harrison more metaphorically
Yeah,
shoots himself in the foot
yeah,
because again, he's one of the greatest defenders ever,
yeah.
and his work on the Steelers will stand the test of time. I think until,
Oh, no,
or that's
he
James
played
Harrison.
Chargers.
That's James Harrison. Ugh.
He played Chargers. But
Sorry,
but
Chargers. Sorry.
yeah, but James
Ugh.
Harrison played. He played a half a year in New England. Nah,
Oh, my brain, dude.
it's all right.
My brain's just all over the
What's
place.
up? What's up?
I've got like 4 hours of sleep.
Nah, yeah.
I've been up all night just like doing editing and everything on the film project we got going on. But
So,
yeah, it
so speaking of that, before, let's just drop a quick pipe bomb on your first film. The first film was called the. I know I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna butcher it. It's not The Contract.
The offer.
The Offer. I knew.
Yeah.
There we go.
SCP, the
Yeah.
offer. Yeah.
Yes. So, I seen the clip of it. So how did it go when it finally came out, and as far as sales and stuff like that, and what made you also get into just writing?
Well, I've been a writer ever since I was in middle school. I've written. I remember writing fan fictions for like Mario and Link team up to save the Mushroom Kingdom and Hyrule, and
Yeah.
me and my friends wrote like a big massive book where we just filled it up with the stories. And I remember I filled my book up, and my friend Michael gave me his, and we filled up his book
Wow.
with the rest of the story.
Mm.
And I think I still have those somewhere. I think they're still somewhere in the midst of all the junk I have in this house. But needless to say, yeah, it's like I've been a writer for and going back and reading the scripts from back when I was in middle school and high school, I still have some of them, and I'm just like, oh gosh, this is freaking terrible. This is
Yeah.
god awful. What is wrong with this? But I would say the biggest thing with writing is just, you know, never stop writing, because you learn and you mature
Yeah.
the more you write. And for me, just found my niche where I have my style of writing scripts, which is a bit of a hybrid between like a stage script and like a television script. I
Mm.
borrow like two different ideologies of script writing, and I just combine them together. And for me, it's come more easily on certain projects than others. This one started from when my friend Nick talked about an SCP that he really, really liked. He really was just like, I want them to make this into a film. I'm like, well, we could make it into a film. And he's just like, well, I was going to say, and he said, I don't know about writing it or anything like that. So I was like, okay, well, instead, let's do a test. And then the test was the offer.
Yeah.
I wrote the offer out. I came up with characters. And I remember initially the prisoner, uh, we were going to have my friend Nick play
Yeah.
the character. And Nick, he basically was like, "Oh yeah, it'll be awesome. We can, you can give me acting tips and this and that." And then when I showed it, when I was just like, "Oh, like here's the background of the character," and it was like a really emotionally deep background and all that. Because whenever I write scripts, I don't just write the script and that's it. I write backstories for literally every character, so that way, if the characters have any questions or want to pull on anything, for like emotional, emotional, inspiration or anything like that for the acting, then they can do that. But when I wrote the backstory for the prisoner, I gave it to Nick, and Nick was like, "Yeah, I can't do this, man. I don't." He's like, I don't have the emotional depth, because Nick says that he's an emotional cripple, meaning that he doesn't emote well.
Yeah.
But I've seen him when he gets in like emotional like tirades. He can get up there. It's just it takes a lot to get him there.
Mm.
But then I was sitting there and I was just thinking to myself, well, who do we get to play the prisoner now? Because I've got some friends that I know would probably do the part okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember I was watching promos between my friend Marcus
Yeah.
and another wrestler, Rick Matrix. They
Mm.
were just like going back and forth, and you could see like Marcus just like because whenever you're doing wrestling promos, you can tell who is so deep into it that they believe it.
And you have to
Y-
believe it.
Yeah,
You really have to.
and I saw that with Marcus when he was on the mic and he was spitting on the mic and just like telling Rick what he was going to do to him and just like being like just like being upfront with him. I was just like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
we need someone who can believe like what's happening to them and can put themselves in the shoes of that. And I basically told Marcus like, hey man, would you be interested in reading for this? He read for it. We actually did a Zoom call, much like how we're doing right now,
Yeah.
and we basically went through the whole deal. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do this. I will 100% do this. I'm in." And Marcus was extremely excited to get to it. I remember the day of shooting for the offer.
Yeah.
Gosh, seems like so long ago. It was during the pandemic. It was
Okay.
yeah. So we followed every protocol. I remember it was I think February 2021, and we were still following protocols. So masks, temperature,
Yeah.
no indirect, like no contact, like if you want to be safe, be safe. But there were people. We had people sign a waiver stating whatever happened here was, it was. You were here consensually and you were aware that COVID-19 is a thing and blah, blah, blah. So, you're aware of the risks and you will not make us liable for your actions and stuff like that. That's basic. Yeah, you got to cover your bases whenever it comes to
Yeah.
this stuff. But thankfully, everything went super smooth. Everything went great. We had a tremendous like amount of people helping us. Specifically, we had Chelsea. She was just on set like early. She whenever people needed stuff, she just went and got it. Like she knew exactly where to be, how to like keep everything in line, keep everyone on time, and it just went super great with her at the basically as the set director. But we also had a tremendous crew with us, the Sutton brothers on the camera. We had Eric Kitchens and the lighting crew. We had Matt Wooten on like the boom mic,
Yeah.
Jacob like doing cinematography and direct. It's just so many great and Aldo Gonzalez who helped me adapt the script into like a movie script because that's the thing about it is like as much as I wanted to keep my script as is,
Mm-hmm.
Aldo basically had to transcribe it over to like script format, like the
Wow.
the way it is presented, and I didn't realize that that was a thing, but as soon as like Aldo had it done, I was like, oh, okay, I see why it has to be the way that it is to
Mm.
keep everything in line.
Line. Yeah.
But I just remember after we were done filming, I just remember thinking to myself, like, okay, if this comes out good, then I will go all in on production of the next one, which I did. And for the offer, I would say we spent altogether about maybe $3,000 on it,
Well,
just to
okay.
like pay everybody because it was one day of shooting.
Yeah.
I paid for everyone's meals, I paid for everyone's gas, I paid like a regular like pay rate for everyone being there for the amount of hours that they were there, and it was great. But then I was looking at what the total bill has been for this most recent one. I can't say the title of it
Okay.
as of yet, but the fact that we're already like a year in on like post production and everything
Wow.
because of the VFX, dude. I did not account for how the VFX would play into such a way because of how we filmed this, and it's my own fault. But the total budget as of right now is well over like $22,000 to $23,000.
Wow. So
Uh,
one
yeah,
thing I wanted to ask you about was, because there's a section of YouTube where it's just basically 10 to 15 minute kind of movies,
yeah,
and you know, like I've only seen the trailer for the offering. I haven't seen the full thing yet. But you said it was one day of of filming. So is it a 2 hour long, or is it about
Oh, well, the offer is about 7 to 8 minutes long.
real?
If
Okay.
yeah, the offer itself, but the film that we just got finished making,
Yeah.
the total runtime on it is going to be about 25 to maybe 30 minutes.
Wow.
And that was we did 7 days of shooting for that one. We did 5 days of like regular shooting, then 2 days of makeup shooting for just like stuff that we potentially missed or
Yeah.
stuff that we had to like delay because of the weather or because of set changing and all that. Yeah, but thankfully it went super, super smooth and we had no issues. We had no issues out of it all.
So now these short films that you're making, are those going under the Renegade Media banner, or is that a whole different? Is that gonna be a
Uh,
whole different?
currently it is going under the Renegade Media Group banner. We've thought about starting up a secondary channel
Okay.
for like because we started a second channel for gaming, strictly
Yes.
gaming,
Mm-hmm.
called Renegade Gaming, and we're at over 9,000 subs on there.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with how that's turning out. But but I'm thinking to myself, if we hype this right, if we
Exactly.
hype it right, if we like get a trailer, we
Yeah.
release it, we hype up the trailer, we release the trailer's received really well, and then we tell people like, hey, this is the release date. Set the date, let people know, like let everybody in the SCP community know this is happening right here, and we want all y'all to be here when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
And that's what, yeah, I'm hoping that that's going to get enough eyeballs on it to where it will make enough of a difference. Because I would hate to do this thing and then all of a sudden we release it and it only gets like 2,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would literally rip my heart out and
Well,
just like
it
but
no, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no, sorry. No, I was gonna say the reason why, because and now I kind of understand is now I understand why you didn't want to release it on a secondary, because it wouldn't get the eyes.
Yeah, because this is the thing. If we started up a second channel and we had enough stuff to release on there to like get enough people to watch it, watching on there to where we could get monetized and then be able to like as soon as we release it on there, we're able to monetize it and we're able to direct all the people who are interested in it there because how YouTube's algorithm works is that they basically force your channel into being a niche.
Yeah.
They like force you into being a niche instead of letting you be a variety channel.
Yes.
You see, there are some channels that can still get away with it. For instance,
Mhm.
PewDiePie has changed up his format multiple times.
Yeah.
First, he was a gaming channel, then he was a meme review channel. Now he's a reaction channel, which is kind of hilarious considering when reaction channels really started popping up, he was like, I freaking hate reaction channels. I
Exactly.
don't, and I'm just like, Felix,
Yeah. Exactly.
Felix. Like, come on, bro. But um, yeah, but we're if we release it on this channel and then eventually, we release more stuff on the other channel, like it because this is what I'm hoping. If this gets enough traction and we film some in between stuff, some like short stuff that's like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes long that fills in the gaps between each part,
Mm-hmm.
then I think that would really like beef up the numbers on the other channel to the
Mm-hmm.
point where the next part would be solely released on the new channel, and thus we could game the algorithm to where it's like, oh, this channel, the Renegade Media Group channel is strictly a reaction channel,
Yep.
and we can like keep recommending it as a reaction channel, whereas this channel that they just started is a more short film and like
Yep.
film based channel. So let's let them do their thing on there. And and Mr. Beast talked about this, when he did a little seminar, and he said that you'd be surprised how much traction you get off of one big video versus 1,000 smaller videos
Mm.
on, like, for instance, we do reaction videos
Yeah.
and we have fun with those, but at the same time, we're sort of we've sort of painted ourselves into a corner with it, and it's hard to get ourselves out of it
Yeah.
without like potentially putting the channel at risk.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that because I still enjoy doing reactions,
Mhm.
but I also want to do different stuff, which is why, I'm really happy that the gaming channel's coming together and it's starting to get more traction. But yeah, it's not taking away from the reaction channel. Instead, we have now two channels that can provide revenue for us, and we
Exactly.
can invest that revenue into other stuff. Because that's the thing. Every penny I make, I basically reinvest it into the channel
Yeah.
by like paying editors, paying like the people who help me and everything. Because I'm not here to hamstring anybody. I'm not here to shoehorn or do anything that's gonna screw people over. I'm here to have fun, and I'm here to like have fun with my friends because it's always been something that I've enjoyed. Just
Yeah.
yeah, just
And that's what life is, man.
yeah,
And you know, going into, really, I'm trying to I gotta take my time because if I get too excited, then I start fucking just rambling and shit. So
no, yeah, I do
uh,
the same. Yeah,
yeah, so be going from a reaction channel and then you're like, damn, like you were saying, like you're stuck here, and it's like, yeah, but I've done this for the last 5 years. I've grown, and it's like
yeah,
I've grown. So how do I show the growth in myself? And it's like you can always recommend, the secondary channel, but it's like, all right, like are those people going to enjoy it? Are they going to come over? The diehards will come over in this, but it's like, how do I,
yeah.
how do I get those new eyes to go and really see and getting the right hashtags and really and just getting that algorithm push? Because that's the biggest thing, is you have to be able to get on people's first when they first open YouTube, getting on that homepage right there, or just getting in that suggestion box where if somebody's watching, like somebody that my son watches is like Corey Kenshin,
Yeah, I love Corey
you
Kenshin.
know, like how do I get into his kind of suggestions? So this way people can go from there and they go, all right, well, like, and some people just have it in the background, and next it goes to your video, and they go, that's pretty interesting. I like that. Who are these guys?
Hmm.
And then from there, they start searching you up and looking at you guys, and then from there you're able to get a few more thousand subscribers just from being in that algorithm.
Yeah. And you see it pays for like the new stuff that comes out. For instance, the new Resident Evil game when it came out, the amount of eyes that got attracted to our channel just from that. I think our subscriber count went up by like 600 subs just
Wow.
from us releasing the Resident Evil footage at a rate. I wish it would have been at a more consistent rate, but you know,
No,
you're only able to do
I
so much.
I think the hardest part is it's a race because you want to be there first. Because you want to
And
be
it's unfair because some channels out there get those early review codes and they're able to
exactly.
record their footage like a week in advance and
Yeah.
have 4 or 5 videos ready to go and release like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4,
Exactly.
and it's like it's just not fair in certain regards.
Like something like that, it isn't fair. I think that isn't fair, but also too, it kind of takes away from the quality of just like you being able to take your time and also too just to be able to enjoy the game,
Yes.
because next thing you know, after about a week and a half of the game being out, or even no, not even 3 days after the game being out, all of a sudden it's Easter eggs. Somehow, some way that the Easter eggs are out
Hmm.
before you even beat the game, and you're like, damn, like the game just came out. Like, can I get a little bit of time to really, enjoy it? And then they have the walkthroughs and the guides, so everything is up there
And
before.
then you also have the ones that upload just the cut scenes and
Yeah,
just like just
exactly.
like just like legend. It's like the I've seen some pop up on my timeline. It's just like Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, full movie, 4K, 60
Mhm.
FPS. I'm like
Exactly.
it's not even been like a full week since that game's been out, and
Yeah.
people are already just ripping it to pieces.
Well, you know what? I would say this. It's like I'm guilty of that because I do that with Mortal Kombat.
Hmm.
So like the second Mortal Kombat comes out, I'll take 2 hours and literally watch the whole cutscene story. You know, like I'm guilty of that myself. So I understand it where it's like, damn, this game just came out 2 days ago. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I got 2 hours to kill. Let me just watch this as a fucking as a because the game it literally like throughout the cutscenes, it literally is a movie.
It is.
Especially like, before I started recording, we were talking about the new Mortal Kombat that's coming out. And how the cutscene game in Mortal Kombat has really turned into it's pretty much a movie. Like it's pretty like the storyline is great, you really get invested in it. Where something like an anime, where anime is like I always compare anime to like Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
because you never know who's gonna die. Because somehow, some way, you get super invested into a character and they kill him. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. And you see that happens to some characters. It's just like Full Metal Alchemist. They do that a couple of
Oh,
times.
dude, I almost dropped a tear when they killed the guy. Like you meet his daughter, you meet his wife.
Maze, yeah,
Yeah,
that just
and 10
uh
episodes, then they off him. You're like, what? That
yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Well, in Brotherhood, yeah, they kill him off pretty quickly, but in the original, we know him even longer. We know him even longer. And if you ask me, I think his death hits a bit harder in the original than it does in Brotherhood because of just, well, number one, the music. The
Yes.
music, in a sense, in certain regards of the original, is better than Brotherhood. Yeah, I said it. Because I know there's going to be some anime diehards out there who, anytime you compare the original Full Metal Alchemist to Brotherhood, they're just going to say, like, Brotherhood is superior in every single way, period, end of story. It's like, and it's just like, can't we just agree that the original still did things
Yeah,
in such an amazing way? And yeah, there were some dumb stuff, but just accept the fact that they did some stuff that was better.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You know,
But
I have a friend, my friend Tony. So he reads every anime. Like he reads the manga.
oh,
So he reads the manga, and he gets the Shoto Jump books.
damn.
Yeah, yeah, the jealousy, right? The fucking jealousy. It's like, how come we can't read Japanese? It's like super jealous. So, um,
Rats.
and the way that he explained anime is, if it's not selling as far as merchandise, they'll axe it. So it's like you'll have some great shows, and you're like, man, I'm super invested in this anime, and you're like, what happened? And he goes, oh well, it wasn't selling. So the viewership doesn't really matter. It's more about how much product can this show move. But and at the same time, I feel like I don't know why, but this is just my bias. I feel like I feel like these anime writers, they get lazy, and they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm over it. I want to move on to something new, and
Yeah.
they'll
A lot like Game of Thrones is what
yeah,
Benioff and Weiss did. They're just
yeah,
like, we've been doing this for 5 seasons. Yeah,
yeah,
we don't want to do it anymore.
exactly. So it's like, you like, for instance, like My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
There's no reason to stop writing it. It sells, but like, I'm tired of doing it. I don't want to write it no more. Like we're tired of writing this. We want to move on to something new. And it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, you're killing something good off. You're killing something great. Just because you're bored of it. And but sometimes I feel like certain companies should be like the people from Dragon Ball Z and say, we don't care what you think. You're gonna write it. You're gonna keep
Yeah.
writing.
You basically, well, and you see, it's important that the writers don't have, like, it's important, like, to have an outline of where the story is going.
Yes.
And I think that's something that, for instance, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, when they were making the movie, the graphic novel, or the comic books still weren't finished.
Mm.
And Brian Lee O'Malley, the guy who was writing it, basically brought them the finished print, and like gave them the full outline of like the story arc and
Yeah.
everything. and they changed the ending because the ending was supposed to be completely different
Yeah.
from what it was in the theatrical version.
Yeah.
What we got in the theatrical version is a lot closer to how the comic ends.
Mm,
Whereas, originally, and there were a lot of people who were upset about it, were just like, it's just like this just doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like this is how the story would end. And then when Brian Lee O'Malley released the ending, everyone was just like, "Oh, this is the ending. This is the ending we've been waiting for." And
mm,
then when the movies finally did it, made the right decision, everyone was
exactly.
just like, it was just like, "This is right. This is how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be."
Hmm.
And you see, Game of Thrones, the original plan, I looked it up. Originally, HBO was 100% down for 10 seasons, 10 episodes each, so 100 episodes.
Hmm.
Instead, because Benioff and Weiss wanted to just like get out of the thing as quickly as possible, and HBO didn't want to get rid of it because whenever you have people who are just like, yeah, we just want to move on to doing other stuff, we're not happy, let them go,
Yeah.
let them go, because there are people who were there, David Nutter and Miguel Sapochnik, who are more than capable of carrying the reins. They
Hmm.
showed that in the episodes that they directed. So I would have just been like, okay, what's the outline? It's like, okay, let's do the complete outline. And instead, Benioff and Weiss at the end of season 6 were just like, we're going to change up everything so that we can end it super quickly in like 13 episodes.
So I have a book that I've read that had a very similar circumstances. Have you ever heard of the book The Wheel of Time?
The Wheel of Time, yes.
One of my favorite books of all. I love that book. So towards the end, the writer dies, and the wife ended up finding Brendan Sanderson, who I don't understand how he does it, but the guy's a madman. He is literally a madman. I don't get. He writes a new book every 4 months.
So he's on that Stephen King shit.
Well, you know what? I like to me. I think I think just sits home and plays MMOs all day. Like
Hmm.
to be able to create so many different science fiction novels. Like you have to watch a whole lot of science fiction movies and say, okay, well, I can do this, I can do that, because you know, he finished. The writing style was a little different from the original writer, but he kept it kind of the way that I'm pretty sure the original writer would have been happy with it. And I'm reading another one of his books called Mistborn. And in Mistborn, he has it's about maybe 9 books in right now. And then he has another series called The Way of Kings, and that one is maybe 6, 7 books in. So he has a cult following, and it's like, yeah, he's like, oh well, I'm a teacher at BYU. I go, how do you have time to teach if you're writing this many fucking books and you're dropping every 4 to 6 months? It's
That is the question of the day.
yeah. But even though the have you watched the Amazon series?
No, I have not. It it honestly, I there's very few shows on Amazon that I trust, because it's not in the hands
The
of
yeah,
like Amazon approved writers.
yeah.
For instance, The Legend of Vox Machina,
Mm,
which Legend of Vox Machina is based off of a D&D campaign that a bunch of voice
mm.
actors were doing in their spare time.
Oh wow.
And the voice actors, basically, it was on a show called Critical Role,
Mm,
and it lasted forever. It was like, I think it was years that this show last or that this D&D campaign lasted, and they basically were like, "Oh, y'all like it this much, and you here's some illustrations. What do you think of the illustrations?" They're just like, "Oh my gosh, I'd love it if you actually made this into a TV series." And my camera's doing a weird thing. There we go. But there was like, "Oh, I'd love it if you all did a TV show to this," and they did a Kickstarter. They basically were like, "Okay, let's do a Kickstarter," and they did the Kickstarter. It was successful, and in the midst of them producing episodes for it. Amazon comes along, it's like, hey, we'll distribute it on our platform and everything, and we'll also give you all a little bit extra budget to finish it.
Mm.
And there was one clause that the people who were running the campaign, ran the D&D campaign had. They're like, every single one of us is seasoned script writers. If someone's going to write these episodes, it's going to be us. That's
Mm.
it. And
Yeah.
they were just like, that's it. And thus because of the deal they signed, the people who control, the what is it, the board of the creative board,
The creative team,
the creative board at Amazon, who in certain regards have their heads up their ass,
big time.
basically had no input at all on the Legend of Vox Machina, and it's easily my favorite show on Amazon.
So,
But you,
well,
for the Wheel of Time, like
give
what
it a
were your
try.
thoughts?
So my problem with the Wheel of Time was they didn't stick to to the book, of course. Like, but they went away a lot from the book. So in the book, me and one of my boys, we talk about that book like crazy, like we go into our own kind of world with it. So one thing that and of course, like we know that um we know that everybody has their own mindset when it comes to certain things, but it's like certain love scenes weren't in the book. So it's like,
Yeah.
so if that's not in the book, why would you put it in there? It kind of it complicates the story a lot. So it complicated the story a little bit, and you're like, all right, so where do they go from here? And you know,
That's uh, painting yourself into a corner once again.
yeah.
It's the creative minds that want to think that they know
Mhm.
what people want out there, and they're just like, oh, we're just gonna we're gonna put these two characters together. Why?
Mhm.
Well, it's because there's a certain sect of the fans that want them to get together. It's like, but that doesn't benefit the story. It's like, doesn't matter, we're doing it. And
Well,
it's just
I think when it comes to like Lord of the Rings, that bombed awfully.
Rings of Power.
Yeah.
I could say 1,000 things about Rings of Power in terms of just uh, in terms of breaking the canon, in terms of just completely disregarding everything that's come before.
Yeah.
One of the most rich and one of the most beloved lores in all of fantasy,
And you just
and you break it because you feel like it. Basically, it's just like the people at Amazon can't help but just swing the dick around and
yeah.
fuck everything up. They
Well,
can't help it.
I think that's what they were doing. It was kind of like, oh well, we're gonna force you to like our way. If you don't like our way,
No,
then and then it's like, okay, oh well, they didn't like it, and we're getting bad reviews, and we're losing money. And then the bosses are like, what the fuck happened? Like we trusted you guys, and you guys just totally dropped the ball on it. So it's really one of those things to where it's kind of a clash between people want to be too creative when it's like if it's not broken, don't fix it. It didn't need fixing.
well, well, well. You're not thinking in a postmodern mindset. We have to make things needlessly complicated
Yeah.
because it's the only way that people can say that we're different. It's like I heard someone say that one time, and it's just like you're adding complications on. It's just like, well, we
That's
have
no
to
need.
differentiate ourselves. I'm like, no, you
No,
don't.
no, you don't.
No,
It's one of those things where it's like inclusiveness. It's like, no, Lord of the Rings, nobody's complaining about Lord of the Rings not being inclusive.
no.
Like
Because you have dwarves, elves, humans, you have the orcs, you have you have the wizards, you have various races
exactly. And it's
that
like
that are already there.
exactly. So why do you think that you have to push certain things on us? Like We didn't ask for it. So
Tokenization.
yeah,
That's all it is. It's needless tokenization
yeah,
that these companies, it's all they know how to do.
yeah.
They're going to push needless tokenization of
Mm-hmm.
characters, and they're just going to be like, we want to show the world that we're woke and that we care. It's just like
Exactly.
y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all want the dollar bills. And guess what? Your gamble didn't pay off. You're
Exactly.
pissed off about it now, and you're gonna write scathing like tweets about how the fan base of the Lord of the Rings is just racist and bigoted and this and that. That's all they do. It's like they push the envelope, and they gamble with the fate of their stuff, and when it doesn't pan out, they play the victim every single time.
Well,
And
you know,
I don't get that, dude.
like they were saying, it's crazy that they they take advice from people on Twitter. They give, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons why people are upset when Elon bought Twitter, because they're like, oh my God, we're gonna lose our power. And it's like, but you guys don't have any power to begin with. You guys think you're bigger than you are. And a perfect example was Super Mario. They thought Mario was gonna bomb. And then
Oh yeah.
they had people who never even played the game writing reviews on it. And you're like, if you never played the game before, then you have no idea.
Twitter wanted it to bomb.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many articles I read on Twitter that were being shared by like certain circles.
yeah.
It was just like, why Super Mario will lead to the downfall of video game movies.
Okay.
It's like what's the total now? Hold on one second.
I think it's around almost $1 billion it made.
Hold on. Here we go. $1.2 billion later.
Exactly. And the
It's
thing,
just like money
yeah.
talks, dude.
And I think the most amazing thing is that it is gonna lead well, so like it's gonna lead to so many spinoffs. Like we're
A
gonna get,
Luigi's Mansion spinoff. I want it. Give it, please, now.
you know what? I wonder what they're gonna do with Zelda. Like, just I'm praying that they don't
Oh,
guess. Like, just keep it simple, stupid. The story's already written.
yes.
Zelda's already written. Don't don't go and don't fall into the trap.
I
It
would say, I would say for me, I know that everyone would want them to do like Ocarina, Link
Yeah,
to the Past. They would want them to do all of the mainstays. But
yeah,
what would really change things up is if you got the writers for Legend of Zelda,
yeah.
Aonuma, you
Yeah,
got him, and you got him to approve a storyline that wouldn't be in a video game, but instead is in a movie
yeah.
or a movie series, a three-part movie series, an epic,
Oh,
three-part movie series that has its own story, has its own stuff, like has its own
yeah.
like story beats and everything, and doesn't have to follow what has come before in the Zelda games. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see those epic moments, like speaking to the great Deku Tree,
That,
like playing the Ocarina of
yeah,
Time in the Temple of Time for the first time. I'd love to see that on film. But where it is already in video game format and where it is a story that's been told before, I would rather see something from Nintendo that would show like the full collaboration between the movie studios and the video game developers. Be like, hey, instead, like, this is the story that we want to tell a Legend of Zelda story. What is a Zelda plot line that you would want us to follow, and this and that? I'd like that.
you know what? The funny thing is that they're gonna call Donkey Kong racist. I guarantee it. I
Well,
guarantee it.
you know what the
Donkey is
hilarious
gonna,
thing is? He's voiced by Mr. Seth Rogen, and if he was voiced by like, I don't know, there's several actors that I could think of that would make a better Donkey Kong,
yeah.
but the biggest miscasting was Cranky Kong. I mean, because I like Fred Armisen to a certain degree. He was a bad Cranky Kong. Oh my god.
You know what? It's the thing too is like, you know, it's not just kids that are gonna see the Mario movie. Like when my sons get here, I'm gonna take them to see Mario because I grew up playing Mario back in the 90s. Like they don't understand how big of a Mario, how big of a cult follower Mario has. So that's why they were able to say, "Oh, it's gonna bomb." You know, because to me, honestly, I feel like Little Mermaid isn't gonna bomb.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to be like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
It's going to make money.
it's gonna make his money.
Probably not as much as Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King because Little Mermaid doesn't have as because you look at the totals of The Little Mermaid versus the totals of Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King. The Lion King at one point was the highest Disney movie of
Oh
all
my,
time.
you know what's like if you look at the cast of Lion King, you're like, holy shit, that was an all-star cast.
Yes.
You know?
And I would say the biggest that was a big selling point. You know, you had James Earl
Yeah,
Jones, you had Jeremy Irons, you had such a great cast
yeah.
for the original Lion King, and then of course you have all this hype surrounding the Little Mermaid, and I would say it's probably going to make about 600, maybe $700 million at the
Oh,
box office.
so
I don't think it's gonna like set the world on fire, but it's definitely gonna make its money.
it's gonna make his money. But so the girl that plays Arya, so she's basically like kind of royal. Don't she's her and her sister are kind of royalty. Chloe and I think her name is Kaylee, but the Bailey sisters, they're
Oh,
yeah. So she's basically royalty because they're Beyonce's god kids. So
there you go.
so
That settles it right there.
so they're Beyonce's god kids, and a lot.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
and they've been singing since they were, and to me, they have amazing voices. I knew they made it when they were singing the national anthem to Super. They sung the national to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They sung the national anthem to to WrestleMania. When I seen them singing at WrestleMania, I said, oh, they made it. You
Yeah.
know, and so that's the only reason I don't see it bombing, just because of the backing that she has. Like she's not as cute as her sister. Her sister is fine, but you know, like like they're royalty, and
I'm looking here at a picture of Chloe
oh,
Bailey, and
oof,
it's the one where she's got the white dreadlocks
yeah,
like braided down. I'm just like, damn, that's a cool hairstyle.
yeah. Let me say, Chloe is,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm seeing her here. Yeah.
yeah,
They're both from the ATL too. Go
yeah,
figure.
yep. So they started off on YouTube. Just
Oh,
they started on YouTube making, doing, like doing covers.
hey, that's where some start. I'm actually my sister and I like we've talked about it. We're probably gonna start doing covers and stuff like that
You know
for
what?
her and everything.
You know what I was gonna say, man? Because like, when was the last time you went up and strung up your guitar?
Oh, me and I'm actually in a band now again.
Really?
We're playing we practice twice a week.
Nice.
And it's basically me, my friend Jacob, his brother Kathan, and Keith on drums, and the most recent member, our vocalist JT.
Nice.
We're it's a heavy band. It's a heavy metal mostly. Um, I try to add a little bit of differentiation with like the songs that I write for it and all that. And I remember the first song I wrote for them. It's called Crooked Smile. It's basically just a song about you know getting your fucking heart stomped on and everything. But it's like about it's like the person you thought loved you hiding behind a crooked smile, stuff
Exactly.
like that. And I told them like, this is my concept, and I because they're used to playing stuff like Iced Earth, Sabaton, and
Okay. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like heavy riff, like
Mm-hmm.
just like going all the time. Whereas me, I like stuff that I play to have a bounce to it
Yeah.
that you can just like that you can like headbang to,
Yeah.
and you can just like just don't get me wrong, you can headbang to Iced Earth and stuff like that. You can just like,
Yeah.
but I just want stuff that like you can just like jump to if you want to, and it's at a and it's a mix between Mick Gordon, from the Doom soundtrack, the new
Okay.
Doom soundtrack,
Yeah.
and the Deftones. That's the
Uh,
best way I can. That's the best way I
listen,
can describe it.
I love me some fucking Deftones, dude.
And
Love them. Love them.
Steph Carpenter, dude. Stephen Carpenter is easily one of my favorite guitarists ever. And and Chino's vocal style. I
Oh,
know he doesn't scream like he used to back on
yeah,
like White Pony and Around the Fur, but still, I mean, he's still got such a distinct voice, and anytime you hear him sing,
that's the
you
thing.
know
His
who it
voice
is.
is very, very, you know, and from them going from the '90s, and I think the last thing I maybe heard from them was maybe 2000, like when they did the album with the white album cover on it. But
Yeah,
for them, like for me, like I love, like when I'm in the gym or if I'm going to work, that's when I throw on like my Mastodon and
yes, Mastodon. That's another one that
oh,
here
love it.
recently I've been pulling a little bit of inspiration from
Yeah,
because and also Static X is another one that
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that I pulled a lot of it, and Rob Zombie as
Like,
well.
it's interesting because you know when you really listen to a band like Tool, you know,
Oh yeah,
and you really have to. That's kind of like certain music you have to kind of listen with headphones because the way the instruments go when you listen to it with headphones, you go, "Holy shit, they're doing a lot."
yes, yeah.
And
Well, I've actually there's that, and then there's also if you have a good proper surround sound
yeah,
system,
exact,
and
yes,
that's my thing because I've got a 7 speaker system
yeah.
in my basement, and I got to be honest, listening to some stuff on there, like for instance, listening to the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack on that, like I was just sitting down there chilling, like smoking a cigar, and then just like I hear like the Seawall song come on, and just like the bass just like pushing
I,
through the walls. I was just like, holy shit.
it's just it hits different,
It does. It does.
and
And that's why I really wanted to try that, see if it really made a difference. And good God, did it. Oh my
well, you know
God.
what? Because the funny thing is that you'll hear certain stuff on one speaker, but on a whole different side of the room, there's like a little bit, and you're like, hold up, like I'm hearing something over here, and you're like, holy shit, like
Yeah, you can really dissect the layers
exactly,
of what lies within. And for me, it's like going back and listening to Blink 182's All the
okay,
Small Things.
yeah,
Listening to it, all of a sudden I kept whenever I was listening to it, I was just like listening to it on my headphones. All of a sudden in the background, I started hearing a little a weird noise.
yeah,
It was like a it for me. It was like a wah, 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 wah. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like you can hear it. You're just like sitting there.
yeah,
You're like you keep playing it back in one specific segment that you really hear it, and then you hear it throughout the rest of the song. You're just like, "Huh." I wonder if that's like part of like just the production. Like if they added that in as a layer to help with like that, that part of the song. And turns out me and Chad looked years later and there was a producer that worked on that album with Blink 182. And in the background, he actually plays a keyboard that it's a little Mellotron keyboard that he had hooked up to the computer that was recording. And it was like wait, 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 wait.
yeah.
I was like, huh. So that was a thing. I wasn't hearing shit.
Hearing,
I was literally
well,
just like, oh my God.
it's so like when I listen to a lot of old school like R&B, and because back then they use actual bands when they were recording.
Yes.
So if so when you have when you're listening and you're listening with good audio quality, when you listen in good audio quality, you're picking up like so much shit way below. You're like, hold up, like I'm hearing something there.
Yeah.
And especially like when you have somebody like James Brown,
Mm.
when you have and you're like,
James loved layers.
yeah,
The multi-track recording, he was like one of the first to really use that to its advantage. And not just recording in studio, but also live settings too.
mm.
He was really good about that.
Well, you know,
But
the
oh
hardest man
yeah,
in the business.
oh yeah. Well, and then of course, for me, you talked about old school R&B. I go back and I listen to, like, Cool in the Gang.
Yeah,
I
another one was
love
live band.
Stevie Wonder as well, his classic period
Yeah,
from, Music of My Mind, Songs in the Key of Life,
yeah,
fulfilling his first finale, Intervisions, Talking Book. Just oh my gosh,
well,
the
yeah,
music that soaks out of that is just
well, and that's the same thing with like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
yeah, oh dude. Rest in peace, Maurice White, dude.
Yeah,
Man, when I found out he died, I was so fucking sad.
and it's just so many, and it just goes into so many layers and just really just breaks down. You're like, damn, like,
This is a body,
yeah,
suddenly you remember,
mm-hmm.
body,
And it's like you don't like because like once you're able, like you're alone, you're able like to just like if you're on the train and you're listening, you're like, hold up, I'm hearing something. Hold on, what's going on here?
Well, also, really a band that isn't talked about as much, but had some bangers back in the '70s as well. Casey and the Sunshine Band. You
Yeah.
know that intro to Get Down Tonight. You know that.
Hmm?
I originally thought that was a keyboard, but turns out that was their guitarist. Their
Yeah.
guitarist was just so like good at like
Yeah.
just like those little solos and ripping them out. And
Hmm.
then Casey was just like, throw whatever you got at this, man. And he
Exactly.
just came out just doing the I was
Mhm.
like, woo. And then they showed him playing it live. I was like, how? Like,
Yeah.
how's this man do that?
Well, so it was Luther Vandross' song.
Mm.
It was Luther Vandross. What track was it? Love You Too Much. And you know how it just starts with so like he went up and he was just joking around with the opening. And when they heard it, they were like, God damn it, why you always messing around? And Luther was like, no, that's staying in. They goes, no, that's staying in. Like, he was like, no, that's staying in. Because it's a great way to really just like start the song over. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well, Barry White used to do that too. I remember
oh man,
for
Barry's amazing.
First, Last, My Everything. I
Yes.
remember I remember that in the beginning it was originally just like the da dum dum ba
Mm-hmm.
doom dum 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 dun 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 dun
Mm-hmm.
ba
Yeah.
doom. It was originally just the instrumental, but then Barry was just like in there on the mic in the studio, and he was just like, we finally got it together, didn't we? And I was just like, yeah, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, imagine Barry just in
Yeah.
there improvising all night.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee the shit that he said, like the stuff that he said but couldn't be put on the record. He'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, I love the way the satin panties
Yeah.
curl around your hips.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So like he was like I believe his story was he grew up like in the church playing the piano and composing music.
Yeah.
So from there he was able to really like he played. I believe he played like 4 or 5 different instruments.
Yes.
So for him, he can really just go and say, all right, you're good there. You're off a little bit. All right, speed that up, speed that up, and just
Yeah.
and able just to. It's like clay, you
Yeah.
know. When you
He and
put it,
he'll just like look at the drum and be like, go off the backbeat. Just like,
yeah,
but that doesn't work. Just try it. Let's see if it works.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh shit, it does work. And then
yeah,
he's like, see what happens when you play around?
yeah. It's
And
it's
I love that
amazing.
shit.
Like, yeah,
I
like,
love the just it's just like us messing around last night. We started recording
yeah,
again here recently, and just us messing around with like how the lyrical composition's going
exactly,
with the vocals. It's just like it's like holy crap! Like how come we didn't think to sing it this way or
exactly.
say this or say that? And also another one too. Aretha Franklin
Yeah,
and her sessions down at Muscle Shoals. Like she only had one session at Muscle Shoals, and it lasted all of about 1 hour. And they recorded one song, and that one song is "I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You," and
wow,
just that. And I remember they did. There's a documentary. It's an awesome documentary called Muscle Shoals and it talks about like the Muscle Shoals like rhythm section basically sitting there with Aretha and just like figuring it out and like doing a head session where they hear the song and then they try and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy, the keyboardist, Spooner Oldham. He
Mm.
like a lifelong like church goer, and just like killed it on the organ, just like a crazy good organ player. And like he was trying to like play all this other stuff around and everything, like trying to like make it like jazz it up and all that. But then all of a sudden he sat back. He was just like, wait, let's go bare bones on
Yeah.
this. And they've been sitting there for like a good 15 minutes and no one could think of like a place to start. And then all of a sudden Spooner just hits that opening like Fender Rhodes riff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like doom do 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 do
Mm-hmm.
do do do. And then Aretha was just like, that's it. Then she
Mm-hmm.
hopped on the piano and she got into it. And then the rest of the band jumped in. They had it recorded in like 30 minutes. And it's the first big hit by Aretha Franklin.
Mm.
And she didn't think they were going to release it because of how the session ended. The session ended with her husband getting offended because a horn player basically was just like, Aretha baby, Aretha, like can you come over here and like help us like work through this harmony right here, just like acting a little sweet on her.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband Ted got offended and basically like blew up and just like ended the session, and he basically was going to abandon her down there. And he was like, and Aretha flew back, and it was just like it one of the biggest what ifs in my mind is like, I wonder what songs they would have come up with and they
If
would have
it,
recorded if they would have just if
they,
Ted would have just kept his fucking mouth shut.
but jealousy's a motherfucker.
You ain't kidding, man. Don't get me wrong, great songs can come out of it, but
Yeah.
it has caused wars and caused a great many of
Oh,
deaths.
you know what? That's pretty much every metal band. That's every metal band.
You're not lying.
That's every metal band. They feel like
Well,
they feel like
yeah,
they feel like they can do it. They can do better without them, and they come back. They go, all right, I'm almost broke. We need to go on tour
exactly.
because, from what I believe, the drummer from Aerosmith, not yet, from Aerosmith doesn't like Steven Tyler,
Not anymore, no.
and he's like, I'm tired of seeing this motherfucker every day, but I have to deal with to make money. And I think it was the same thing with fuck who's the guy is it Mick Jagger?
Oh yeah.
Stones. Yes.
Yeah, the Stones, yeah.
Yeah.
Him,
Uh,
him and Charlie, the original drummer who passed away last year, they didn't like each other. As a matter
yeah.
of fact, they got in a fist fight in their 70s, dude.
Yeah.
They got in a fist fight. Like Mick was just like, Charlie, I need you to play that backbeat again. And Charlie's just like, Mick, I'm not playing the backbeat again, mate. And then all of a sudden they just like got in each other's faces. And I think Charlie was the one who swung first and
Nice.
like gave Mick a black eye.
Nice.
And and then of course Keith was just sitting over there. And instead of like jumping in and like breaking it up, instead he was just like watching the whole fight unfold, just like playing guitar the whole time. He was just like,
Because he knew it was gonna happen.
yeah, he's just like he's like, what do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
What do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
I'm a bag of bones, mate.
Yeah. Well, I think that happens with all like like Motorhead broke up for a little bit. I
Yeah.
I love Motorhead. I love
Oh yeah. And
Motorhead.
the original lineup only lasted, I think, 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
before, like butted heads on
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
they couldn't come to terms or agreements.
You know.
It's just like Journey, one of my other favorite bands. Steve Perry, for the life of he refuses to ever play with them again. Doesn't matter if they go into the Hall of Fame. Doesn't matter if they, if it's like a 50-year reunion tour or whatever. Nope, he
Well,
will never play with them again,
well, you know
ever.
what? And it's crazy because um, you know, like the lead singer of Tool, he has a perfect circle,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's just like, all right, well, when I get tired of you fucking guys, I'm just gonna record for, and they say like a perfect circle album takes 2 years to make because they're all fucking composers and they can never agree on anything.
no, and
know?
And Maynard is a control freak. As much as I love the guy in terms of his creative process,
He-
he's a control freak and he
yeah,
wants to be in control of
every
everything.
everything. Yep. You know,
And that's just not healthy. It's not
it,
healthy to be like that all the time.
exactly. Man, but Nate, I have to get to this dinner.
Okay. All right.
So, listen, we gotta do this again. This
Absolutely.
you know, because I like honestly, like I feel like we could be here for like 4 hours talking.
we just hey, we're good at collaborating, dude.
Yeah,
We're like
yeah, you know,
we're on the same wavelength with a lot of shit.
exactly. With a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But before I go, I'm gonna issue this challenge.
Okay.
Me and the Spanish Fly, Send Poppy Rick versus you and the Cap Guy,
Oh,
aka
Mister
yeah,
they call me Hat Guy.
yeah, Mr. AEW. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I'm going there. I'm going there.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
going there. Mr. AEW himself, Chad. And,
Yeah.
in a 2-on-2, you know, I was gonna say Halo. I was gonna say Halo, but Rick's never played Halo before. But I'll get him on Halo. And we could do a 2-on-2 on Halo,
Uh-huh.
and tell Chad Baby Vince said, just bring
Okay.
it. But
I can just see the
yeah,
just the
yeah, just
just bring it.
just bring it on.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been well. I hope you guys really enjoyed this interview. I hope you guys also learned like every podcast I do. I want you guys to at least learn something. So please learn a little something. Maybe you found out something you didn't know before. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast. And like always, until next time, guys, tell a friend, tell a friend. You guys know the vibes already.
Mhm.
Nate, also, once again, Nate at Renegade Media. All his stuff will be down in the descriptions. And until next time, guys, peace.